Hello, everyone, and welcome to another edition of Dialogue with Dallas, where I want to really focus on the most recent blog post I put out that is stirring a lot of controversy. But what I really am excited about is that it's stirring a lot of dialogue around how we might look at class sizes across our country. Most recently, I posted a blog about how I agree with Betsy DeVos, particularly around class size, but I was very clear that I did not agree with her rationale or I did not agree with how she came about within her argument. But what I did say I agree with her on is that as a country, we have to have a better conversation around class size. And I know that many individuals will point out to the fact that, class sizes need to be as low as they possibly can. And I understand some of the thinking around that, particularly as age appropriate, as developmentally appropriate, making sure that kids have access to a teacher who understands their unique needs and who can push forward to make sure they're continuing growing within the classroom. But specifically within this blog, I really pointed out the fact that, and this is where in education, I think in many times we've really gotten into our own bubble to where when we hear ideas, we automatically think about why they cannot work. And I get that, but I don't get that. And the reason why I don't get it is sometimes is because we are the only industry who really does believe that evolution cannot happen with us. Like every other industry, whether it's healthcare, IT, whether it is communications, legal, whatever it is, they understand that through evolution, they get better at doing their work. But in education, sometimes we believe that if it's this way, it has to be this way, and we can't think about another way. But as I've had an opportunity, and I'm very grateful to visit classrooms across the country, visit other countries where we've been able to think about how we might be able to do teaching and learning better, I am opening my eyes up to other ways in which we can provide quality instruction to students regardless of their zip code, but also give them access to a quality teacher who really deserves and gets what he or she is worth in the classroom. What do I mean? In my most recent blog, I talked about the fact that I would, as a parent, rather have my child in a class with 40, 50, and I've even seen it 60 kids within a classroom with a quality teacher than to be in a classroom of 10, 15 with a teacher who does not have the skills needed in order to make sure that my child has mastered what he needs to master in order to move forward. Now, what do I mean by that? Now, come on now. We're not talking about just throwing 40, 50, 60 kids in a classroom without support. As I've been able to have conversations with teachers, teachers are burdened, they're overwhelmed because of the number of duties and tasks that are put on their plate that are outside of teaching. Outside of that, teachers are frustrated because in many cases, folks are telling them how to do their job, how to teach, how to do it X way or Y way. Teachers want flexibility to say, these are the standards. These are how we're going to make sure that we measure to make sure those students have mastered those standards. Now, let me do everything in between. And I think we have to give them that. So, what do I mean by that? As a country, we know that, and this is according to the Learning Policy Institute, we have over 100,000 teacher vacancies every single year. At the same time, we are increasing the number of students every single year within our schools. If we know we already have a delta between the number of teachers we need versus the students who are entering our classrooms, oh, yeah, and by the way, we also recognize that while that delta exists, we also are losing teachers along the way. And we always talk about how we want to pay teachers what they're worth. We have to think differently. So if we think about partnering with higher ed to make sure that individuals who are in higher ed programs are teacher assistants first before going into the classroom. These are individuals who are in preparation to be classroom teachers. A teacher who has 50, 60 kids in the classroom. Now, I know people are looking at me crazy now, but they have 2 to 3 teacher assistants in that class with them. And I know we have to look at, flexible learning spaces and our building configuration. Those are things we can control. Let's think fundamentally about the reform that's required to really make sure that a quality teacher is in front of students every single day, particularly students who need them the most. So if a teacher has a classroom of 60 kids and he or she has 2 to 3 teacher assistants who are in preparation to be a teacher, providing insight to them, being able to do small groups with students, being able to assist them in the classroom. Oh yeah, and by the way, that teacher is making 80 to 90 to $100,000. Oh yeah, and by the way, those teacher assistants are getting the much needed day-to-day hands-on teacher preparation in order to prepare them to take on their own classroom. Oh yeah, and by the way, in addition to that, we have no other frivolous duties that that teacher has to do outside of prepare with his or her lesson, be able to collaborate with their teacher assistants, be able to provide feedback to their students in the form of enrichment or small group instruction, or being able to even give face-to-face one-on-one time with students, or even 2 to 3 on one time with students, and they're able to provide feedback to kids, not this other stuff that we're requiring teachers to do. That's a conversation that we need to have. So I'm excited about the dialogue we're having. I'm excited about the fact that people are questioning. I like that, but I also don't want us to get into this hole where we think we cannot do anything different because of X, where we constantly think about why we can't do something as opposed to thinking about what would need to exist so that we can do something. Teachers deserve to be compensated. Let me be clear. Students also deserve to have a quality teacher in front of them every single day. Let me be even further clear with that. So let's have a conversation about how we make this happen in conjunction and in partnership with higher ed, where we think outside of the box as if there is no box that exists, because that's what every kid deserves. So I want to hear some more conversation about this. I want you to challenge it. I want you to give me solutions, to give us the network solutions on what we can do in order for this to work, or to provide an alternative to ensuring that kids get a quality teacher in front of them every single day, and that we compensate our kids and our teachers, I should say, appropriately. Let's have that conversation again until we can dialogue with Dallas.